which we should be live. We should be live now. We have the green light that we are live.
Oh, yeah. Hey.
Howdy, everybody. We're just
What's up, y'all?
Let some people trickle in and start watching, and then we're going to talk about all the new Trek news that we got from San Diego Comic-Con at Home 2021.
Father, you will be imparting some of this stuff onto me, and that I don't know about. I watched the 2 trailers, and that's about it. I think I heard 1 or 2 announcements.
Yeah, well, there wasn't much said other than the trailers. They did do a panel for both of our Star Trek animated shows, so we're gonna kick things off in just a minute and do a whole live recording of a podcast episode to discuss that. Me, Dave, and Starfleet Boy, or Starfleet Boyms, as he's going by today.
Boyms today, yeah.
It's like Sohail, you're like a chameleon. You're like a salt vampire shape-shifting before our eyes. From Starfleet Boy to Starfleet Boyms. I'm gonna have to come and Spock double punch you until we know who you are.
Oh, I'm gonna be McCoy. I'm gonna be the one torn. Do I shoot him or don't I?
Yeah, I'm like, could Starfleet Boy take this?
Wait, can you switch it between Dave punching and me? Are you able to full screen switch us?
I could, but I'm not.
You're not going to.
Okay. No, because
it's not started. That good. It's not that good. All right.
But yeah, let's just kick off our introduction. I'm Fatheree.
This is Dave.
And this is Starfleet Boyms.
And this is Tex-Trek.
Engage.
Welcome back aboard the Starship Texas for the 149th installment of the Tex-Trek podcast, the home of Star Trek fandom from deep in the heart of Texas, where we have deep talks about Star Trek, where we have animated discussions about Star Trek, where sometimes we have deep talks about animated Star Trek.
Nice segue.
Now.
I love it.
So yeah, we had another virtual Comic-Con in San Diego this year, just like last year. And just like last year, there was some Star Trek goodness to come out of it. The Paramount Plus animation panel they did, I guess it was a collection of panels. I don't know, it's all pre-recorded stuff. But yeah, they released it all as 1 hour and 12-minute or so video, and Star Trek took up 50 minutes of it, but it was their peak animation presentation for Comic-Con. And yeah, we're just going to talk about the first 50 minutes of that because it is all Star Trek. We're talking, of course, about the 2 current animated Star Trek shows. Star Trek Lower Decks, Season 2 is about to premiere in a few weeks. And then later this year, Star Trek Prodigy.
That's about the techno band from the 90s, right?
Yes. R.I.P.
Firestarter.
What's his name?
Smack my B up.
That's right. If you ever played Wipeout XL on the PlayStation 1 or 2, you know what I'm talking about.
Yep. Bow, banana now.
Oh, but it's the other Prodigy. Right, got it.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about that one first. So if you're watching us live or if you're just catching the video later, we'll have some images on screen. If you're listening to the podcast, that's okay. We'll give you some colorful descriptions of what we saw, but you should definitely check out the 2 trailers we got. There were trailers for both shows, and just want to quick say hi to some of our live audience. Pastel Pirate, Jill, Dom, thank you all for joining us. And yeah, let's just go ahead and jump straight into the conversation. Dave had mentioned that he saw the trailers, he didn't watch the panels, so he's going to be asking me and Sohel questions if there's anything
And you guys
that
are going
we
to
bring
talk.
up.
I will break you. Okay.
Well,
how many lights are behind me?
0.
No, I can see
Okay.
like 2 at least. 2 lights.
It was like it was kind of a trick question. You're really just getting reflections.
There might be only 4 lights, but there are there are 5 Star Trek shows now, so we now have like more Star Trek shows in production than there were lights in Chain of Command.
I've been waiting for that ever since Chain of Command.
But yeah, so our first panel was hosted by, both panels. They were hosted by Commander Ransom from Lower Decks. What's his name?
Jerry O'Connell.
Jerry O'Connell, yes.
O'Connell, yeah.
Jerry, who jokingly said, "Oh yeah, I'm doing this because Will Wheaton had something to do today." So I think might have been the case because he had a few goofs that he kind of messed up Janeway's rank at one point. And
he called her
we'll
Vice
talk
Lieutenant,
about that,
which was great. Yeah.
But, let's talk about the Star Trek Prodigy stuff. We had the whole cast of the show joined together in some big Zoom conference, but just to remind everyone who these characters are, because I have a feeling a lot of y'all haven't committed all these new names to memory yet.
I pulled up a separate window with a little reminder to me who everybody is. I'm still gonna bungle it though, because I don't know them.
Well, I'm gonna run through the whole cast. We had Brett Gray as Dal, Ella Purnell as GWYN, RYLEE,
ALAZRAQUI?
ALAZRAQUI,
no,
I think.
I knew how to say it last time.
Yeah.
ALAZRAQUI, we'll just say. Sorry, RYLEE as ROK-TAHK.
It's a cool name though, RYLEE.
Jason MANTZOUKAS as JANKOM Pog. Angus Emery as Zero. And D. Bradley Baker as MURF. And of course, Kate Mulgrew as Janeway. Don't call her Vice Lieutenant Janeway. Which, Dave, that's something that Jerry O'Connell in the middle of the panel, I think he meant to say Vice Admiral. Wasn't that your rank at one time, Vice Admiral? We called her like Vice Lieutenant, and Kate Mulgrew didn't like that.
She's like, "Fuck this! I'm off. The show's over."
She's like, "No, you call me Admiral." But yeah, it was funny, Dave. They were talking about the show, and then Jerry O'Connell is of course married to Rebecca Romijn, who's #1 on Strange New Worlds.
That's right.
And at one point, not only did Rebecca Romijn come into the room Jerry O'Connell was recording from, but her Strange New World castmate Ethan Peck, aka
also,
Spock, just followed her into the room. So he was just hanging out at their house that day, apparently.
Oh, dang. That's cool. I was sort of hoping you were going to say that they were in uniform and stuff like that, but that is just a sort of that is a very cool modern Star Trek gathering. I dig it.
But yeah, the first panel, it gave us the trailer for Prodigy and also a look at the ship, some NX class Federation, clearly Starfleet ship, the USS Protostar. So we can assume it's some type of experimental ship. We also got to meet, who I hadn't seen him do any type of promotional material for this show yet, but Ben Hibben, the director of the show, who is involved in the animation process, along with the Hageman brothers, who are the writers. But yeah, they seemed very excited about this, and I think one of the big key takeaways from this is that this show is going to be fun and lighthearted, but it's going to have a fairly serious tone. It'll still push into some serious drama, some serious action, but be that all ages type friendly. Early on from the beginning, with Legends of Korra and that type of stuff. Yeah,
there was actually a lot of very lightweight humor or lighthearted humor. Even when you get to the more serious later seasons of Last Airbender, there's big goofy kind of moments and stuff. So yeah, that does fit what they've been saying all along, and I think it's a good balance. I think those shows have really shown how that can be kind of perfected.
Yeah, for me, I go back a little bit older, but for me, that type of stuff was the Bruce Timm DC animated Batman and Superman shows, and that type of it's still appropriate for kids to watch, and kids would tune in and enjoy it, but it has some serious, well thought out storytelling involved.
You know, and when I think about sort of the difference between those, I think they skew a bit more serious. There's a little bit more kind of sass and snark and stuff like in the sort of modern things like Last Airbender, and like I'm my instincts, because I kind of came up a little closer to that era of Fatheree. I'm older. I mean, like I saw like crappy He-Man cartoons growing up, so Batman the Animated Series was amazing. But like I like its balance better, I think, than Last Airbender, just kind of conceptually. But I warmed to Last Airbender a lot more than I expected to in the first few episodes, when I was like, that humor is it's a little goofy. And then I warmed to it. Like I saw how their drama was so good, and you know.
So. Kate Mulgrew seemed extremely excited that this show would possibly be a new entry point for like a new like probably what she considers the youngest Star Trek audience to date. So, but also as Geek and Review said in the chat, but they're always like, but everyone's gonna love it, which I like.
Yeah, nobody's ever gonna say it's just a kids show.
Well, I think there is like some idea that like, okay, like we want kids to watch this, but we know like the average viewer is probably going to be like an adult Star Trek fan, so we need to make sure that you know they're having a good time as well.
Yeah,
right, but it won't be Castlevania.
But yeah, we can just talk about like the trailer real quick. It was very short. It was, I guess, more of a teaser, and they even, well, I'll take that back. They even like called it a teaser, that the Hageman brothers did. So yeah, so didn't really get into any story details or anything, but
hey, Father,
some stuff.
Before we get into like a specific scene, can I just say one kind of quick impression thing?
Sure.
I just want to say, like, I was shocked at how good the animation was. Like, I'd seen screenshots and the character models were really good and detailed and seemed to have, like, you know, strong color theory and good design work. But seeing it actually animated, it was like, it looked like a level of smoothness, you know, that exceeded or matched or exceeded kind of what I think of as like the Star Wars animated stuff, like Rebels and Clone Wars. I haven't watched those very recently, though, so that may be an unfair comparison. But I was just like, man, this looks super good. I mean, you know, I could feel the money going into it.
Yeah.
Well,
it's beautiful,
you know what though?
animation,
You know what though?
too.
I agree with you that it looks good, but I was not shocked at all. That was my expectation, because every Star Trek show they've been doing in this new era of Star Trek, they've poured
beautiful.
a ton of money into it, and made it look real. Like even Lower Decks, which is kind of like this, you know, titmouse animated kind of a Adult Swim style show.
But there's like a particle and like lighting and crazy stuff. Yeah, it looks cool.
They pour so much money into that. It's one of the best looking versions of that style of animation I've ever seen. You know, if there's characters standing around in the background, they're not just standing there static. They're like, you know, playing with their hair or like blinking and looking around and doing stuff. Like they pour a ton of money just into Lower Deck. So I expected this to look like something that would rival The Bad Batch on Disney Plus. I would have been shocked if it didn't look good.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, let's shall we go ahead and jump in? You continue with what you were saying.
Sure, but we get some shots of our. We can, I think, assume he's the primary character at this point, but Dal, who is played by Brett Gray, he's this youth on some type of prison planet or something. We've heard talks about like the show's going to kick off with like these kids having to escape the prison that they're on and get in some Federation
they're
ship.
in space detention. Is
space detention?
It's the Space Breakfast Club. Hey, I do have a question though. Are they all kids, or like could we tell that from the other prisoners?
Well, all of the characters we know that are going to be in the show are all described as teenagers.
Yeah, they seem like youths
or younger
youths.
That does make me wonder exactly, like, you know, were they part of, you know, did they know each other before they got here? Were they exiled here for some specific thing that they all did like together? I assume that they probably have to kind of learn who each other are.
I think the impression I get from the trailer, this could be totally wrong, of course, is that two of the Doll and what's her name?
ROK-TAHK?
No, GWYN. Doll and GWYN might start out and then they meet the rest later.
Right.
But I don't know.
Yeah, certainly that's one of the big things I'm curious.
We see them at like the same planet. Like it looks like a dilithium mine. I see a bunch of like red crystals in a lot of these shots.
Were they pushing what looked to me like the space version of a Conan Wheel of Pain
yeah,
from the Conan movie?
I don't want to get too specific on the visuals for our podcast listeners, but yeah, we get to see all of the main cast characters in motion. We get to see like their faces. We get to see a little bit of animation of them moving around. ROK-TAHK Zero, and one of the things that like really stood out to me was just like the environments look so beautiful.
Yeah, look at that.
And the ship, when we finally see the ship, this ship is going to get a lot of scrutiny in the next few days because of all the Star Trek ship nerds online. But yeah, I've definitely been looking at it a lot, and it's kind of deceptive from like a Star Trek design logic. The size of the ship, it looks kind of bigger than it actually is, because it looks like it has like a bunch of windows. I was trying to count the windows earlier. I was like, oh, the saucer section is like 5 decks tall. That's a fairly decent sized ship. You know, it's bigger than like the Defiant or the NX-01 Enterprise. But then if you look closely, you can see the bridge window that we actually see like the actual size of that bridge later. And there's like a hatch at the bottom of the saucer section, that like a door that they would, I guess, get in and out of the ship with. So it's actually smaller. It's somewhere between the size of a runabout and a Klingon bird of prey.
That seems like a good size for the show. I think and like I just want to say, shape wise, it looks a little bit like almost like the Voyager's front with I think a single warp engine, a little like what was the Kelvin, right? But like,
well, it's a slanted
it
pylon. So you can see the other pylon kind of.
angle.
Yeah.
Wait, sorry. Say that again.
It's over here. You just can't see it.
It's
there is a second one. Okay.
Yeah. It's got like elongated Enterprise E style pylons, in my opinion.
Well, the nacelles on it look Kelvin-y to me. They look like those big, thick Kelvin nacelles. Which
I call it like Kelvin/TOS because they're not as pronounced as the Kelvin ones, but like you can see this being like a. But also, I was talking about this with PJ a little bit. It could the ship seems to me like since it's an NX, it might be an experimental vessel, or it is rather going through its experimental phase, and so I wonder if the technology came through somehow, just like Yor did. From the Kelvin timeline, and they've integrated it into the Prime timeline or whatever however you want to break it down.
A little bit of an overcomplication if you had like designers from the Kelvin timeline like bring this design over.
I don't think they'll talk about it in great detail, or it might not even be a point. I'm just saying, inspiration wise, for me, it points to some of those.
Okay.
Those.
I like the weirdness. Yeah. I want him to go and visit the Kelvin timeline.
Yeah, okay. I would like to. I want to see them all merge. Yeah,
I think that within the universe there is some type of technical reason why that shape existed in one timeline, and it's probably the same reason why that shape exists in another timeline. But I have a quick question from a Star Trek dum-dum. That's me. The NX in the original Enterprise from show Enterprise. What does it stand for? Does it denote that like it is specifically that it's a prototype? Yes. Right, well, Enterprise actually messed it up. The TV show Enterprise messed it up. Well, it messed a lot of stuff up. But before that, the first time we ever saw NX was in my personal favorite Star Trek movie. I know it's a weird one, but Star Trek 3: The Search for Spock. On the USS Excelsior was NX 2000. Yep. It just noted that it was an experimental ship, and same reason with like the Defiant has an NX registry number because it's the first of a new class. We see that again with the USS Prometheus. It's just anytime there's like a new ship. So if this is the USS Protostar, then there's possible other protostars. There's a whole protostar class, or this could be one of a kind. So it works either way. But the interior of the ship is what looks really weird. The exterior is very recognizable as a Starfleet ship, but the interior has like this very huge bridge with a giant glass dome that kind of encompasses the entire bridge. And if you compare the interior images with what we saw in the exterior, then you can kind of see the scale of the ship and get a good idea of the exact size of it, because you can see that glass bridge module on like this top section of the ship.
You know, this could be a new favorite bridge for me in the sense that I like the idea of like a massive IMAX-y viewport,
Yeah.
which is what it looks like they have, and that might be the one that I want to go, the ship that I want to chill on.
Starfleet ships are so bold in their designs. I mean, they just put like crazy, like already having the bridge on the top of the saucer section is like a bold move, but then they're just like, oh, let's just make it a giant window.
Well, speaking of IMAX, this footage does has a very cinematic look to it, and the images that they released previously had a very cinematic look, and the aspect ratio, this is in like that wider than 16:9 aspect ratio, which really surprised me that they were doing that. That shows me they're taking this very seriously. This isn't just like some dumb Nickelodeon cash grab. Like, let's see if we can move some toys with our new toy license. You know, like they're seriously trying to like make this an impressive quality show.
I hope that's wood trim like on the bridge. I really like wood on a starship, and I hope they.
I do at times. I like it on Kirk's chair. I don't like it that much on the Enterprise D.
Why can't I suddenly say his name on Discovery, who had the wood on his ship, the wood paneling? Her boyfriend.
Oh, sorry, Book.
Book, yes.
Books.
Yeah, Book's ship had some kind of cool classiness there.
But Dave, our listeners aren't going to know this, but just so you can get a look at it, this is like an aft view of the ship flying
right on
through a canyon, so you can see the two nacelles.
It's got 2 warp engines. You weren't lying for once.
and then we end on a weird joke from Dow where he's just like, "Oh, there's more stars than I thought," which was kind of a goofy way to end the trailer. But
so this brings up one or two things though. Like, one is I did kind of wonder if he's a person who's been planet bound his whole life, like really doesn't kind of know the star fields from space. And 2, Fatheree, you and I talked about this off mic and in messages and stuff a little while ago, and we were saying that, you know, you just like get the shortest of snippets in this, like just little, you know, you're not leaving this planet, you know, little you've got to believe in yourself kind of moments. You know, the characters really get almost nothing except for like a line or 2 here and there. So like the dialogue didn't exactly dazzle me, but it kind of couldn't when it's just like little 1 or 2 things that people are sort of shouting, usually amidst action.
Exactly. Yeah, no one should judge this dialogue too much because, we're just having these little snippets out of context. Yeah, it does kind of tell something about his character that, like, this is kind of like his first step into space, which is kind of exciting. And we get a little voice-only narration from Kate Mulgrew. I believe she says, we have only just begun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like the Carpenters song.
Right, exactly. We've only just begun.
Well, I thought that was a good choice. I thought it was a good choice to not include her in the trailer because they need to set the expectations right. You know, if she's not a principal character, if she's just kind of a secondary role, it's like the mentor, it's like the holographic mentor on the ship, then yeah, they don't need to like put the spotlight on her and false advertise in the teaser trailer.
Right, this isn't Voyager 2.0.
Yeah, acknowledge that she's there, but don't throw her in the spotlight. So I feel like they handled that well. They teased the Janeway that is to come.
Kate Mulgrew has a very distinctive voice. She got a smoky voice. So like, you know, kind of closing out with that is pretty iconic, even without showing.
We've only just begun. I can't do it. I do it too crazy.
You know who does a good Kate Mulgrew? You know who can like really impersonate Janeway is Garrett Wong. Like he'll do it if you ask him to do it. Yeah, if you ask him to like do it at a convention, like he'll just go on like a Janeway like.
Oh, nice!
It is hilarious.
I want to hear that.
Delta Flyers is on my queue for podcasts because I hear it's really good. So I hope he does that on Delta Flyers. Fatheree, we get a look at the L cars. Do you glean any clues from that?
Oh man, you're right. You can see them.
Yeah, there is that helm. I guess that's helm
and ops. Sorry, yeah, they are Okuda style.
Yeah, more than likely. So the show takes place in the year 2383, which is just 4 years after Star Trek Nemesis. So 3 years after Lower Decks Season 1. It's basically at the same time. This ship does look pretty high-tech, and it does have a very late registry number. So I don't think the ship is like very old. I think it was crashed there fairly recently. I don't know what it's doing in the Delta Quadrant. But.
That panel's floating above the helm or op station, which is pretty cool. The panel on top, it's actually got a shadow So it looks like it's incorporating some perhaps holographic technology or even early programmable matter. That's cool.
I forgot that the shows were so close, and that they could theoretically have a crossover if they wanted.
Yeah, it's weird that they just didn't do them at the exact same time. If that's what they wanted to have as an option.
Yeah, it is kind of.
I don't think they plan on. I don't think they plan on doing a crossover.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't assume it, but it is the kind of thing that at the very least they could have some fun mashup art or something like that. Put one cast in the other cast style, or just have them integrated exactly as they're drawn on their individual shows or animated on their shows. That'd be kind of fun.
I like the chairs too. They're newer and cooler looking, but they're reminiscent of the TOS film era.
Yeah, they
kind of
look like that
shape,
motion picture era. Our friend Dom Paris, though, in the live
Dom.
chat, he says that time-wise they could cross over, space-wise they couldn't, and that's a good point because we need to talk about this more. We've just kind of been hinting at it, but we should remind people that this show is promised to take place in the Delta Quadrant. Which is weird that we don't see any Delta Quadrant species that we know of from Voyager, and we actually see a couple from the Alpha Quadrant with the Medusan and the Tellarite, existing in the Alpha Quadrant since the original series. So I don't know what they're doing over there, and I don't know what this Federation ship is doing over there. But with it being an experimental ship, it could have had some type of experimental warp drive or transwarp or slipstream.
The experiment failed.
Yeah, whatever.
There is the question of how did the ship end up there? What's the deal? We're probably going to find out all these things.
I mean, it could have been Apollo's green space hand moved it.
Just tossed it.
As far as what briefly is glimpsed on there, just double checking, is GWYN the same? That's the same species as Jayla from Star Trek Beyond?
No.
No.
It is a new species invented for this show. And the prison planet that they're on is ran by her father. And so she's not one of the oppressed prisoners. She's one of the oppressors, but she's gonna apparently break bad and join up with the renegade kids.
The robot Zero says something like, most people, you're the only one who's got hope, or something like that to Doll.
It's not a robot.
They're not a robot.
They're not
a Medusan.
That's the
Medusan.
They're a Medusan, and they're a genderless organism.
Right.
They use they them pronouns.
Hey, here in the screenshot, you can kind of see the Medusan a little bit.
Like
it looks like the aperture's
there.
wider. Yeah, it's cool.
They've got the what do you call it? The masking up. Why can't I say it?
Like
tinting.
the screen.
There's tinting.
Exactly, to protect others. But yeah. Oh.
Yeah, no. So the reason I was asking, I'd forgotten that. Yeah, of course, that's the Medusan. Is that because it did seem like the robots guarding, like the prison colony seemed like it was primarily guarded and stuff by robots. And I was like, oh, is this a robot that defects or something? But no, that would not be the case.
It's funny that you said that, Dave, because in the panel, Jerry O'Connell actually referred to Zero as a robot. And then the actor, Angus, who plays Zero, was like, no, they're not a robot. They're a non-corporeal...
I love that
energy beam.
All of the actors involved seemed so into their characters.
Characters, yeah.
It was very cool and
nice.
Brett Gray seemed really excited about being the lead, and Kate Mulgrew was complimenting his voice acting. She's like, "You're like a voice magician. You can do all this stuff with your voice."
Yeah, I think she's found her second family. It's interesting that both Jean-Luc and Catherine have found second Motley Crue families as they get older. It's interesting.
Yeah, but
I
guess
that's
Shatner or Brooks.
Holographic Janeway.
Yeah, it's true. The real Janeway has no idea that any of this is effing going on, and it's totally oblivious.
Yeah, she's gonna find out what they've been up to, and she's like, "That's not what I would have told them."
Terminate that Janeway. Janeway hologram immediately.
Yeah, she'll take it down like it's Tuvix part 2. She don't care.
So hell, we should talk about D. Bradley Baker's MURF to Dave, since he didn't get to hear the MURF.
I wish
he's
a
little blobby. Yeah, he's a little blobby alien. Played by a craggier looking dude.
And speaking of competing with the other Star franchise's animation, D. Bradley Baker, who voices MURF, also voices the clones and the other Star franchises cartoons, and
Like
that's
he's the
basically
main clone voice.
he's the only clone voice.
Yeah.
Right. He's got the New Zealand Kiwi accent.
Well, he fakes that accent, but
Yeah,
yes,
it's not his real
but he does the entire cast of the Bad Batch.
Hmm.
But yeah, he's also going to be MURF, who MURF just makes like weird animal noises. But because the character ROK-TAHK is like really like close to like animals and creatures, and I kind of speculated, well, maybe MURF is kind of like a pet to ROK-TAHK, and it looks like that is what we're getting. Although D. Bradley Baker described him as like he is like intelligent. I guess like he's like at least like borderline sentient, but like he doesn't speak English, and it's something that he'll
He
learn
actually describes
over
him
time.
as ROK-TAHK's familiar, which was interesting.
Oh, like he conjured him up or something, or he's
or perhaps they're linked somehow as maybe perhaps
Yeah.
familiars are with
it is again a really neat looking design. There's a lot of personality, even though it also looks like just a protoplasmic blob.
It was cool to see it moving around though. It was very like gelatinous and fluid.
Oh my gosh!
In the trailer,
Pastel Pirate, is he Space Scooby Doo?
Yeah, like Scooby Doo like tries to speak English, or he's like you know, like a little bit of that. So I think it's kind of like that. Yeah, ROK-TAHK and MURF.
Red alert!
We got a few tidbits about all the characters though, didn't we? Starfleet Boy, like with Zero, Angus Emery explained that the thing with him is that, or the thing with them, is that they don't really understand humanoid emotions, but because the Medusans are telepathic, it's like always reading everyone's mind. And they just blurt out what everyone's thinking all the time, and it creates like these really weird, awkward situations.
Angus Emery said it's going to create some awkward conversations or situations, which
this sounds more than a little like hopefully it's not too what's the word I'm looking for? Hopefully it's not too much like Mantis in Guardians of the Galaxy, who would read people's thoughts and then just kind of blurt them out, not knowing why what was or wasn't private, sort of.
I think that's exactly what it's going to be.
What's the word I'm looking for when something is derivative? Derivative. I don't want it to be too derivative of that concept.
Was that something? Yeah. Was that an ability that the Medusans had in the original series episode? Because I can't remember that episode too well.
Yeah, they had some telepathic abilities.
That's why Spock and the other Vulcan are able to.
She wasn't a Vulcan.
Oh, sorry, Romulan.
She wasn't a Romulan.
She wasn't a Romulan either.
She was a human telepath.
Sorry, Starfleet Boy's making things up. He can't remember.
Starfleet Boy After Dark has begun. The drinks has begun.
Jason Mantzoukas has an even crazier beard and long, crazy hair in the panel. Like, it looks like the pandemic affected him about like how it affected me. And he was joking about playing the Tellarite JANKOM Pog about like, oh yeah, they don't even have to animate my character. I just do it live action because I basically look like a Tellarite now.
Yeah, what does he say in the trailer? Some kind of like you're stuck with me, or some kind of goofiness like that. Yeah,
he's gonna be kind of the Neelix, but I think maybe like a cooler Neelix. I'm not a big Neelix hater. I know some people are, like Dave.
I am a hater, but the thing is, I've seen him in some really good episodes now, and so I've just got more episodes under my belt. But like mostly, I think that the writing with him didn't contribute that well, and so hopefully this guy will just have better writing.
I think JANKOM Pog will be less cringy than Neelix. I think Neelix has more cringy points than he doesn't, unfortunately.
They said he's kind of the contrarian though. Like he'll like everyone will be like, okay, let's go do this, and then JANKOM Pog will be like, no, like let's do it this other way. Like this will be so much better.
Makes it sound like Tellarites argue just for the sake of arguing.
I guess all Tellarites have a stripe of contrarianism.
That is what is that? That's in Journey to Babel.
It's also interesting. You got like this crazy looking old dude on like this cast with all like these teenagers and kids and stuff. Like he's on the same show as RYLEE, who is ROK-TAHK. It was
Jason Mantzoukas doesn't look that old.
Goddamn, Father. Actually, he's probably younger than me. Thanks, Fatheree.
people hate it when I do
I'm just
this, but
kidding.
like, because it affects their devices. People hate it when I do this, but I'm gonna do it anyways.
Oh no!
Hey Google, how old is Jason MANTZOUKAS?
48 years old.
He's
Oh,
48.
he's older than me. Whoa!
He's the same age as someone I know, but I'll just leave it at that.
Both of those people look good for their age, FYI.
Hearing RYLEE talk about playing ROK-TAHK, that was cool because she says like, oh yeah, basically just got to be myself. Like, it's a character who looks like this big scary rock monster, but I'm just this sweet little 8-year-old girl, just like I am in real life. And I love animals in real life, and ROK-TAHK loves animals, so it's so fun and so easy to play this character.
I didn't catch too much of ROK-TAHK on the trailer, but that sounds fun. A character like she's playing 8-year-old.
Yes, that's what she said. And I think they'd mentioned before that ROK-TAHK is only 8 years old.
I have to admit, I don't like the really young kids in TV shows. Like when I was a kid and I would watch the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, the littlest kid, Bobby, the kind of let me take him on barbarian guy, a little too much like Scrappy Doo. I don't know if I want like a kid that is like that kind of little punk kid. I don't know. She'll have to prove herself to me.
Well, it's not like a child. I mean, it is a child actor, but it's not like a child actor like on set. You know, there's a child actor recorded in a studio with people that are like coaching her and stuff. I think it'll be okay.
With the Dungeons and
I don't
Dragons.
know. If she's playing a character who's meant to be very childlike,
the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon didn't even have kids, did it? It was like adults doing kid voices.
I think, if anything, it might have been a girl doing a young boy's voice, as is common. I actually have no idea, but like he came off as like a maybe 9 or 10-year-old, I think, and the rest of them were supposed to be kind of like mid-teens or late teens, maybe. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that one.
Well, the Hageman brothers said that they fought pretty hard to get like a child actor to play a child character because everyone wanted them why don't you just get like an adult that can do like a little kid voice, but they wanted to like really capture like that childlike vocal quality, and they wanted an actor that would present that to the microphone.
I think it's good to have a kid on set to keep perspective of who the target audience is for also.
Yeah, but like kids don't want to see stuff about kids. They usually want to see stuff about something a few years older than them, I think. But you know, like I said, I'll trust or at least put some faith in that they kind of know what they're doing. This doesn't look like some just kind of like they just threw shit and saw to see what sticks. I think they probably have a decent plan.
And I think we pretty much covered like all these characters, and we covered most of the trailer. So
I want to hear what y'all thought, like just in general, like just what was your gut instinct reaction?
So far for me, it's just it seems like it's meeting my expectations. If it weren't Star Trek, I probably wouldn't watch the show just because I typically don't care for kids targeted for kids stuff. But because it's Star Trek, I am going to watch it, and I'm really excited about it. I'm most excited to watch it with the wee ones in my family and friends groups. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping
see if it does create that new
buzz,
audience.
Yeah, and that new audience, and I hope so, because I am happy to talk about Star Trek with all generations, and I think if someone gets an interest in it at a very young age, it's a good thing for humanity. I'm one of those true believer types that like thinks that Star Trek's primary mission is to better humanity. Like at the end of the day, like, you know, regardless of whether it started out that way or not, that's where we are. It's an institution. It's 55 years old. And I hope it's going to be around forever, inspiring folks to do science or just persevere in tough situations. And so, yeah.
Well, I didn't know we were going to have a Roddenberry moment, but there it is.
I don't know if that's a Roddenberry moment. I'd like to call it a Star Trek moment, but yeah, it's definitely, definitely he set the tone.
It certainly fits his ideals.
Ideals, yeah.
Yeah. No, I like your idea. I wanted to quick ask you one thing, Sohail. Did you watch any of like Avatar, Last Airbender, or Korra?
No, I never saw any of those shows, but I hear they're worth it, so they're on my list. Unfortunately, now that we're gonna have 52 weeks of Star Trek, I don't know if I'll ever get to that list. But yeah, it's
You can't even get
it's
through
hard.
2 seasons of Babylon
I-
5, so I don't know when you're gonna hit
I know,
those
but
other
I'm
ones.
enjoying your discussions a ton, and I love Babylon 5. I'm hooked on it, so I am gonna complete it one day. But I gotta get through Voyager before this show starts. I feel like I have to finish, and I'm on season 5, so I'm gonna drill myself hard to get through Voyager.
Fatheree, what was your baseline impression?
Well, unlike Sohel, I do not give a damn what kids watch. If
Right,
there's
that's cool.
content for
I
them
like
to
that,
enjoy,
by the way. I respect that.
it does not matter to me at all. Like I have zero interest in developing programming aimed at kids or for kids. I'm a very selfish consumer of entertainment. I at the end of the day, like, I only care if I like it or not. But I like what I see here, and also, unlike Sohel, I actually do watch a lot of all ages stuff. So I don't have a problem, watching something that is going to be aimed at a Nickelodeon audience. Like I said, like, it looks like it does have a lot of serious storytelling going into it and a lot of thought and effort. I really,
to be fair, also I did watch all of Clone Wars, and I think that's opened my mind a little bit more to watching programming like this. Yeah, I love.
That's
Clone
a good
Wars.
example.
Yeah.
It's a good example.
Yeah, and I've done all the other Star franchises animated shows, so I'm not really going to have to step out of my wheelhouse for this one. I know some Star Trek fans are a little unsure, but yeah, I recommend people at least try it because, like I said, a lot of effort did go into it, and I'm pretty excited just to get like this new flavor of Star Trek. This is something that the franchise has never done before, but it's something that does work. I think there's a potential. Yeah, like, what about, like some alien kids that get like a Starfleet ship and they're trying to learn from the Starfleet hologram? That's an interesting premise to me and something that's never been done before. So I'd rather them do this than do like a young Starfleet Academy show or something like that. To me, like, this is a little bit more interesting, and it is another example of the franchise doing what I always want it to do, and that is boldly go. And so it's boldly going, and I applaud that.
I think I am. I don't have a whole lot to add to the sort of the discussion, but I'm in the cautiously optimistic place. I like what I see. Some of the dialogue was a little tropey, but I don't see how it could have been anything otherwise in the short snippets that I saw. And I also, knowing the way I sort of somewhat slowly over the course of, say, 4 or 5 episodes warmed to Last Airbender, I'm gonna give this a number of episodes to kind of see how characters start to develop early on and all that. But yeah,
and you like Clone Wars too.
Yeah,
right.
Sure. Not enough to finish watching it, but yes.
Well,
I know. Ironically, I saw what would be probably the lesser stuff, but yeah, it was good, and what I saw of Rebels was good too.
Well, we will move on to the other Star Trek animated show. There was a panel for Star Trek Lower Decks, which not only had
they're almost all wearing their Lower Deck shirts. It's awesome.
Well, 2 of them are.
Three,
because
yeah, Jerry
Eugene
O'Connell,
Cordero, okay,
and Jack Quaid. Yeah,
that's Pillboy from the good. We have 2 Good Place actors in Star Trek now, right? Because we have Pillboy, Eugene Cordero, right, who plays Rutherford.
Yes,
and now we have our Tellarite, Jason, however you say his last name, MANTZOUKAS or whatever. I don't have it on the screen anymore, so I forgot how to say it.
Yeah,
but,
that's right.
But yeah, we had Jerry O'Connell, we had Eugene Cordero, we had Jack Quaid, we had Tawny Newsome, aka my future wife. I still don't think she knows it yet. And also show creator Mike McMahon.
And so they showed the trailer, of course. Yeah, what else did they talk about?
Well, I just want to say Noelle Wells did pop in for a quick cameo. She couldn't be at the.
She never does their Zoom panels that they
I know,
do.
but it was not. Maybe she has
she
like
just
a
has,
thing.
she just has like these little like pop up, like these little pop up cameos, where she's like, "Yeah, I wish I could be there." Bye. That happened last time. That happened at what was that at? Was that Star Trek or First Contact Day back in
Right, I
April?
think
I
it
guess.
was. Yeah, I think that's what it was.
It had to have been. Yeah.
But yeah, she popped in for just a brief second to say hello and
yeah, Noah Wells, who plays Tindy and is from San Antonio, Texas. Or is she from Houston? From somewhere in our.
There's so many Texans on TV these days. By the way, just a quick aside: Jonathan on Superman and Lois is a Texan, and he lives in Austin in your town. So that's cool.
We're owning it. We need to get Tendy's voice actress on to do Tex-Trek sometime.
Yeah,
Noel Wells. Yeah, so they didn't really give away much during this panel. They were all very coy. Jerry O'Connell tried to ask Mike McMahon a couple times, like say something for season 2. He's just like, oh, it's funnier, it's bigger. I mean, it's not really bigger. It's the same number of episodes as season 1, but yeah, he just like they were all kind of like dancing around it. They didn't want to give too much away, and
that means something big is going to happen.
I think it means that because it's a comedy, you don't want to talk about your content too much because then you spoil the punchline. So you
although it feels like there must be some great stuff ahead because they gave away some good nuggets in that trailer, which we'll go over soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so not only did they give us a trailer, but they also released some other images after the panel, but online from the first 2 episodes of the season. And this starts really quick. It's August 12th, so that's what, 3 weeks away?
Yeah, I guess so. That's when it starts, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah, and then it'll be 10 episodes.
That's right around the corner. It's like literally next week is August, I think. Not next. Sorry, week after.
Yeah, I think like next Saturday is August.
Yeah,
outrageous.
Yeah,
we can go ahead and just talk about the trailer. I have some screenshots from it.
Great transporter room shot. That's cool.
We had to see the Titan transporter room. It does kind of have like that Enterprise E Voyager aesthetic, doesn't it? But yeah, we get some shenanigans with Boimler beaming up from a confrontation with the Pack-Leds. We get our new I guess security officer on the Cerritos, who is a Temerian, like the species in Darmok.
I can't wait. I cannot wait.
more on him in a moment, but we see Paul F. Tompkins' character, the ship's therapist, Dr. Maligmo, I believe is his name, the bird alien that was giving Mariner therapy. And Paul F. Tompkins, he's the co-host with Tawny Newsome on the official Star Trek podcast these days, the Pod Directive.
Mm-hmm. Hey, is that bird character, is that a known species?
No, I don't think so. And he's food obsessed, which is great. He just looks like a bird. It's like Howard the Duck entered. Or something.
I have an image from Trek Core that I wanted to show, and that is we have our new security officer. His name is Kayshawn.
Like vacation.
But there's also a shot of what appears to be Shax.
Shax is deceased?
Yeah, he died at the end of season 1, so I don't know if this is a flashback or if
it's a holodeck. It's because like the bird guy's in there. It's a therapy session. That's my speculation.
Or it could have been like they needed like a crowd shot and they dropped in a bunch of character models and they added his character model on accident. Because Mike McMahon did say like the season's not quite finished. They're going in like correcting like little animation errors like that. So that could be a possibility. What caught my eye more than that is in the scene we see them standing in, I guess, like a cargo bay, like they're doing some type of presentation. There's an alien saying like "Good morning, Cerritos," like kind of like corny like speaker that's like super enthusiastic, but everyone's
it'd be like a motivational speaker or something like that.
One of those people who's like, "How are you doing this morning? Okay, I can't hear you. Let's try that again. How are you doing this morning?" Like one of those types. You know what I mean? But that creature that is speaking to them is the same species as Belm from the animated series, the character I hated in an episode written by David Gerald. He's the dude who basically like flies apart, where his arms and head, body, and legs all go in different directions.
That was a balls trippy episode.
I gotta see that episode.
That might have been my least favorite episode of and I love the animated series, but I think that might have been my least favorite episode just because like Belm like annoys me so much, and I kind of hate him, and I wanted him to die. I wanted like Kirk to like let him die in that episode. It's so bad.
That's not a very Roddenberry moment. We're gonna have to retract the one that we achieved earlier.
It's okay to want that. You just can't act on it to like make it happen.
You think that everybody on the Enterprise is secretly like imagining people's deaths? So they're like, Scotty's like, I didn't act on it, Captain. Though.
Except that
all
one
right,
time,
Mr. Scott.
Except that one time when I was
Picard
possessed by
himself.
Jack the Ripper.
Picard himself really wanted to kill Borg. So
It's true.
it was good enough for Picard, but there were some other cool little tidbits in the Lower Decks trailer. It looks like they're actually visiting the planet Free Cloud.
Free Cloud, yeah.
From the Star Trek Picard Season 1 episode, A Stardust City Rag.
That's very nice. I didn't catch that in the trailer the first.
Right,
That's
and
cool,
that of course includes like Quark's franchised bar or whatever.
Yeah,
that is.
so Quark, I guess, was franchised as early as. See, this is like one little like graphic like this has like this big ripple effect in the continuity, because it's like, okay, well, this establishes in canon that Quark franchised by the year 2380 or 81, whichever one this takes place in.
Right on.
Jeffrey Combs is actually voicing a character in Lower Decks. He's the voice of this mean computer who told Mariner that she could lose a little weight or something like that. so Jeffrey Combs playing an asshole character. He's pretty good at those.
He's
anyone
played
who
a lot
pulls
of
off Brunt.
Yeah, he's played a lot of characters, but has he ever been able to play an evil computer? That's a classic Trek trope there.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's so funny that a few days ago this article broke on, I believe, Trek Movie. Robert Duncan McNeil, who not only is a big director right now, he directs a lot of TV content, but we know him as Tom Paris on Voyager. And he said that he had actually been asked to appear on Star Trek Picard and just couldn't make the scheduling work. Well, he could make it work for Lower Decks because he shows up. This is the weirdest thing. He is, I guess Boimler is hallucinating. He's like being exposed to some fumes or something. But
in a Jeffries tube.
Yeah, but he's a talking plate. And those of y'all young enough that like you came into Star Trek with like Star Trek 09, yeah, like if you weren't into Star Trek like in the 90s, you won't know what the hell this is. But it's the weirdest thing. But what was it? The Franklin Mint? That's what
they would call him a commemorative plate.
Yeah,
I have so many. I
have some of these. Yes. Like I mentioned my favorite movie, Star Trek 3 earlier. I have the Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock commemorative plate.
That's amazing.
It is the weirdest thing. Like I don't know why anyone thought that was like a normal thing to make or
Some
buy.
of them have elaborate gold trims with like insignias and stuff. Like here's
a picture of one. And
they would come with
this. They all came with a certificate of authenticity. Like that was like that was gonna make it valuable. Like
like
you have this little piece of paper
for big future trading on the market of commemorative plates.
Yeah, it was
here's
pre-internet. It was like
I feel like
out of a magazine or a catalog.
Yeah, you get it from like a Star Trek magazine or something.
By the way,
you like called the number and gave them your credit card on the phone, and they would send this to you.
Does Dave know the thing about this cameo?
I don't know. What's the thing about it?
Other than the thing, Fatheree?
I mean, I know the guy voices it, but I don't know what else there would be.
The plate's really being made. You can buy the plate, the Paris plate.
I thought I saw like StarTrek.com promoting this.
Yes.
And now I kind of want a Tom Paris commemorative plate.
I'm getting it. I signed up for the newsletter. I have to have it.
I'm probably gonna buy it if it's not. I don't know, $25 or less. I'll buy it. I don't know if I would go 30. That's a little. That's I still need to pick up like the new season 3 of Discovery on Blu-ray. So yeah.
Mine is on its way. I'm happy to report. I finally.
Fatheree, over in the comments, I see Geek and Review says commemorative plates are still huge. It sounds like in the UK with about relating to the Royals. So
gotcha.
Well,
so yeah, this is this could start a new trend of commemorative plates. Brace yourself.
Can you imagine if it revitalizes a whole industry? Like...
I mean, I guess I don't know if there were a lot of commemorative plate makers out of work, or if they've been just like on the streets, and that's what starts the Deep Space Nine homelessness issue.
Honey,
but I hope
honey,
it works
it's
for
been
them.
30 years and I got my old job back making commemorative plates for Star Trek. You won't believe it.
Well, no, now we have fan sets. We have pins. We make like little pins instead of plates.
Yes, we do have. I have lots of these pins here in front of me too.
I do appreciate it, the absurdity of that, though. They dove deep on that one, and I dig it.
I'm sad they gave that gag away though, because it's an awesome gag, and that's why I'm kind of like excited, because if they're already giving away like gags like this, there must be like amazing stuff waiting for us in the actual season.
Yeah, there were like some other images that I thought were cool. Like we see like some Nausicaans and some like are these strips or slips of latinums? They're not bars, they're not bricks. They're either slips or strips.
I think they're slips or strips.
What's the second smallest one?
I think a strip is smaller than a slip.
Well, these are slips then. I think. Yeah. Slips, not strips. We have Borgified Boimler. It looks like Locutus of Borg. Not sure what's going on there. We have the crystalline entity shows up. Tindy turns into a scorpion monster at some point. We have a Miranda class. Yeah, the Miranda class
with
ship, like the Reliance.
Bizards. Yeah, it's
probably
cool.
getting blown up because those get blown up a lot. But and we'd seen that in the previous trailer. And
Miranda class.
A lot of hack-led action. So Boimler's going to be hanging out with some Pack-Leds. We actually see the
they
Titan
did play a big
confront
role
the
in the first season, in the finale. So
yeah, so it looks like the season's actually going to open with Riker commanding the Titan, actually like going into battle against the Pack-Leds.
Yeah, they did a.
Although
I'm sure
that's
you're about
the
to
Alhambra, if I'm not mistaken.
What's that?
I think that's the Alhambra, if I'm not mistaken.
What are you talking about?
Earlier when we were talking, does it say Titan on there? Can you see?
That's a Luna class starship. I assume it's the Titan.
It might be called the Alhambra, but I'm not sure. I saw it on PJ Stream on an article, but I might be wrong.
Or are you talking about the Miranda class ship?
Oh, maybe that's the Alhambra. It's possible that's the one that is the Alhambra.
This is the one confronting the Pack-Leds is a Luna class ship. Like the Titan.
I'm watching the comments and I'm fascinated. One who was it? Fizbin Fake Out says that he interviewed for a job at the Franklin Mint twice. And someone else said, Dom Paris said that Mike McMahon was tweeting about commemorative plates for Lower Decks as far back as 2019.
2019, that's cool.
So yeah, this might be the culmination, the fruition of what he had just thrown out casually.
He tweeted today about something about dreams coming true. So yeah, that's what, and with a picture of the plate, the actual plate, what it's going to look like, which was really cool.
And yeah, indeed, so we're watching, I guess Boimler got transferred to the Titan at the end of the season, right? Is that how that went down?
Yeah, that was how season 1 ended. And so it looks like he's going to be involved with the confrontations with the Pack-Leds. And we see he's underground some mines. There's Pack-Leds shooting at him. They're trying to beam him up, and the transporter's not working. So yeah, the Pack-Leds are kind of appear to be Boimler's worst enemy in the footage we see here.
They what do you call it? The rest of the crew, like Mariner and them, are like, oh, just think what adventures he might be having, and then they cut to him in a kind of classic Trek style transporter accident, looking a little like Star Trek: The Motion Picture with a malfunctioning, flickering transporter where he's very amusingly. I think this is a great acoustic gag. Breaking up his scream so that it's like staticky flipping scream.
Yeah, he's phasing in and out.
Yeah.
Hopefully it ends better for him than those poor bastards in the motion picture.
What came back didn't live too long.
Okay. Oh, thanks. Dom's corrected me and says the USS Alhambra was another California class starship seen briefly in season 1. So yeah, that was just Starfleet Boy being Starfleet Boy again. Sorry about that. It's probably the Titan.
And Tom has our back, and he says that Miranda is the McDuff.
It's called the McDuff. Cool.
Okay. But we do know that Boimler does eventually end up back on the Cerritos because there's other shots that have him with the Cerritos crew. And I think we actually also get to look at his rank pips and see that he's demoted back down from lieutenant to ensign. So,
Some sort of incident, perhaps.
there will be some reset button hit. They're just, I think it'll take 1 or 2 episodes, and then they'll hit the reset button.
All I know is whatever Boim's disgrace will be probably the most funny thing ever to get him to rank down again.
I'm hoping
It's going to be like
not...
basically right in front of Riker, whatever it is.
I'm hoping that it's not like Boimler like comes up short and like is just like a total failure at something, though. I'm hoping that he makes a choice that gets him in trouble, but it's like he does it like
you want it to be more of
the
a
consequences,
right? Like a Mariner choice,
a Mariner move,
right.
And not like a Boimler just being like, "Oh, I'm too big of a goofball. I couldn't pull it off because I'm this weird neurotic weirdo." And no, I want it to be like him, like having to make some like principled choice. Yeah, still play it for gags. It is a comedy, but
I think it can be both. I think he can still, he can still make a principled choice, but also make the biggest goof up ever.
I want it to be a show about like a dude who's like doesn't just like suck at everything forever. Like I want there to be growth, and that's kind of what they teased in season 1. So I want that to continue into season 2.
There's plenty of seasons for that growth, Fatheree. Give us another couple of seasons of
him like accidentally beaming like triple shit onto the bridge or something.
But yeah, what do y'all think about having Kayshawn as our new security officer on the Cerritos?
It's gonna be great.
Dave, I know you're a big fan of the species, even though you're not like a big. You don't really connect with lower decks, but I know that you like this.
I love all one episode they were in. So here's my fear. I don't really connect with lower decks. I'm gonna try season 2 and see what happens. But I'm worried that he's going to mostly be there for gags. That which I don't buy into. Like if Star Trek if Starfleet actually had a Temerian running around, they would either have by now a translator that accurately translates what they're trying to say, or he would have learned to speak more in like a traditional idioms of like standard. So like if he's just constantly saying weird stuff and they're like, wait, what are we supposed to do? What? I think that'll be funny, but I think it will frustrate me. So we'll see.
Mike McMahon talked about that. He talked about that during the panel, and he said that they are going to milk a lot of comedy out of it. But he said that the character does speak a little English, but he's still like mainly speaking in like their weird like what would you call it? Like mythological references?
Oh, it's a metaphor.
Literary references.
Yeah, they speak in metaphor
or memes. Mike McMahon like describes like he basically just like talks in memes, like
right.
How we can communicate with
I hope he says I can have cheeseburger or something like that.
Well, he does. It was funny though. I did laugh out loud when I watched the trailer, and he steps onto the bridge, and they're trying to like welcome him onto the bridge, and he just says with a weird like Rapungi when he joined the Seven. And it's like, oh yeah, we're doing Darmok shit. Like clearly very recognizable.
This is a dumb question, but are there like 7 people on the bridge? Was that very clearly just his way of saying this is like when somebody joined some other legendary group or something?
Yeah, I don't think there is actually 7.
Yeah, it's the metaphor of his people. It's like whoever across the water and Jemba or whatever.
Sure. Yeah, no, I just wondered if it was like in some way at least literalizing what was like 7 people in front of him.
Probably.
But we'll see.
He's voiced by an actor I'm not familiar with, but Mike McMahon was like really proud of like getting this comedian, Carl Tate, I believe is the dude's name, who is on the show Comedy Bang Bang. I'm not really sure what that is. And I only know that because I was just like Googled him about an hour ago, and that's what came up. But yeah, he's gonna do the voice of Kayshawn. So
which apparently was Eugene Cordero also on that Comedy Bang Bang.
Maybe I don't know what that is.
I don't know either, but I think I've heard of it for sure.
I'm guessing
but
it's like a
never seen
skit
it, yeah.
comedy thing.
Yeah.
But that's all I know. If you know what Comedy Bang Bang is, tell me. Or don't tell
I
me.
assume it's
Leave a
all
different comment.
references to how Bond was called Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Mr.
Ah.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and it's all Bond humor. That's clearly what it is. It's a weekly podcast that blends conversation and character work from today's funniest comedians.
Geek in Review says the line about joining the Seven is a reference to The Boys with Jack Quaid, I think.
Very specific.
I don't watch The Boys, so I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either, although I hear it's pretty good.
It is pretty good.
But speaking of Jack Quaid and superheroes, it was interesting that they brought up during this panel that 2 Lower Decks actors have now played Superman, because Jerry O'Connell has voiced Superman in a ton of animated stuff, and now Jack Quaid is going to voice Superman in that new animated show coming up.
Interesting. The nerd connections continue.
And Eugene Cordero's in the MCU and Star Wars and in Star Trek.
Yeah, but Star Trek is cooler than the other Star franchise, and honestly, not the movies aren't great, but DC is cooler than Marvel, so we don't need to talk about those other franchises.
Well, Fatheree has spoken. There won't be any argument from here onward.
But yeah, did y'all have any other things to say about the trailer? Or Dave, did you have any questions about the panel? Or Sohel, did you have any observations on the panel that we didn't mention?
The panel was super fun. I just want to say that I was really pleased. I already tweeted about this, but I was really pleased that Tawny Newsome welcomed Mike McMahon with a soccer horn impression. So she was like, she didn't do it like I do, but it was like, bow, 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 bow. And so it was like pretty awesome to see that. No, all in all, I'm just really hype and excited. Father, that guy on the right there, go back to that one screenshot. New species, right? The guy that looks like a sea,
that's a new creation.
Like a big tentacle manatee.
Yeah. I don't think there's been anyone in Star Trek with tentacle arms. There's other Easter eggs in this shot, but he's not one of them.
Yeah, and Jill just mentioned the other Easter egg, which is that's the device or ship from Inner Light. There, you can see the fin of it.
I did see that mention of Inner Light. Yeah.
Yeah. The fin there is from that, is likely from that ship or device or probe. I guess it was a probe. But no, I'm super hype about it. I'm excited. I'm really excited about both of the animation offerings. I'm already a fan of Lower Decks, so I already have pretty, I think, what are reasonable expectations that it's going to be another fun season. Of Lower
it's
Decks.
A pretty safe show for people who like it. Like I feel like we kind of know what we're gonna get.
Yeah,
with the second season. So yeah, it's easy to be excited and
I don't really see them dropping the ball on it.
And I'm pretty eager to see Prodigy too, just because I'm ready to try something new, and I love the diversity of shows we're getting here. How they're both radically different from one another, but they're both still recognizable as Star Trek.
Yeah.
I would be disappointed if either one was the only show we were getting. I'd be disappointed if either one of these was just like the only Star Trek show they were making. But the fact that we're getting all these different shows, they balance each other out.
Can we answer Stress-Free K's question of whether those are a bunch of teats on Rutherford in the sick bay? I thought they were some sort of patches or something, like little bandages.
It looks like Tindy is doing some type of medical treatment or experiment on Rutherford, and has these devices.
Yeah, because there's one on his forehead too. Yeah.
I mean, we see his nipples, and we see these things. They're two.
They look like
different
things that
objects.
they put on. They look like those things they put on when you go to the hospital, and they're getting all your vitals and stuff like that. So, but it is good. That is.
I'm going to say though that a weird virus breaks out on the Cerritos, and everybody gets multiple teats all over their body. That's what I want to see.
It would be really gross if they start laughing.
It was a really weird and specific virus. Fatheree, I don't necessarily know that I'll plan to watch Lower Decks. I've been impressed at how much it has like been a success with all generations, including like kind of curmudgeonly fans of the old school. I think a lot of them have warmed to it. I'm not one of them, but I also don't hate it or anything. It's just not my kind of comedy. But I did see actually enough in this trailer to make me kind of want to watch a few episodes and see what's going on, and check it out. I'm more excited about Prodigy, but also kind of need to see a little bit more of that before I like get fully behind it. But like that one, I think is easily of the two the one that I'm most excited about.
Cool. And I'm really excited for the stuff we have coming down the pike later with the new season of Picard and with Strange New Worlds. And yeah, we're getting another season of Discovery in there too. So definitely lots of stuff to look forward. And Kurtzman is talking about the Georgia Section 31 show again.
It's
saying,
actually
I still think it'll happen.
It's not. A lot of
He's
people,
like, "It's
including
not dead."
myself. Yeah. Including myself, I thought, oh, that's going on the back burner for a long, long time. But no, apparently it's still alive.
The Genesis wave might have hit it, though.
Yeah, well, we will find out in the future. But yeah, I don't have much else to add. Anyone who is listening or watching this later should definitely give us some feedback and let us know which one of these shows are you most looking forward to and what are you looking forward to in it. We have like I said, like a big diversity of show here with two pretty different things.
Yeah, and I want to know what your role would be on a Lower Decks show. What would you be doing? What humiliating job would you be forced to do? So let me know.
Cleaning the bleep out of the bleep filters in the holodeck.
I would have to be. I'd be working in like the zoological department, and I'd be like grooming tribbles. I think, like shaving them like little bonsai trees.
I would probably be doing some kind of tech work. So who knows what I'd be cleaning.
You'd be help desk.
Help desk, or like
you'd be like an engineering. You'd be like an engineering. People would be like, "Hey, the replicator in the mess hall isn't working. Get up here."
It's only making things out of poop.
Well, that's that happens, That's what
apparently
we had a whole conversation about that in Discovery Season 3.
It's true.
I don't know what my job would be on the ship. I would be trying to like get out of work. I would be the guy like I would like walk around and just like say good morning to people, and then I'd go like sit in a Jeffries tube and like look at Facebook on my Starfleet pad.
Yeah, whatever the futuristic equivalent of that is.
Yeah, so
very funny.
They do have some social media, because when someone took a picture with Mariner, when like the news broke that she was the captain's daughter, someone took a picture of her. She's like, "Hey, I don't want you to post that on." And then she got interrupted. We don't know what she said, but there is some social media in the 24th century.
Fatheree, for maximum comedic effect, I'm going to say that you would be involved in doing some sort of work where you keep the holodeck from you enforce limitations on it or whatever. And because you're like lazing around and not doing it, the holodeck there is the most messed up holodeck of them all.
It's like someone steps on and they're like, "What's going on? Why aren't the safety parameters like what are the rules here?" And like some weird like deformed hologram like turns around, so like glitching out and like real scary. It's like, there are no rules here.
It's like a naked Moriarty.
Well, yeah, let us know what your Lower Decks job would be, and come back in 2 weeks when we're going to be talking about the things that we hope to see in Lower Decks Season 2 in the next Tex-Trek podcast. We're taking the week off next week, but if you keep up with us on YouTube, I think Brian and I might be doing a Babylon 5 Season 5 stream, so we can close that thing down, finish off B5, and just turn our focus back to Star Trek, because we have a lot of Trek coming up.
It's going to be epic.
But yeah, so that's it for today, and until next time, as always, live long and prosper, y'all.
Right on.
Listen to the Tex-Trek podcast through Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or at tex-trek.com. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/tex-trek. And follow Fatheree on Twitter at TXTrek. Please support us by liking our videos and subscribing to our channel on YouTube. Thank you and take care.